Blessings, everybody. Thank you so much for joining the channel today. Hope you're doing well wherever you may find yourselves. I'm Dane, your host of the Rocky Metal Guardian. Today, I thought I would share with you album covers I hid from my mom and dad because I knew or thought or was afraid that I would get some serious, what the hell is this? That blowback from parents because of questionable album covers, right? Because the artwork may be offensive, blasphemous, sexually explicit, or just violent, or suggest violence, or just inappropriate, blasphemous, that sort of thing, right? And we know that album art can be very sensitive to parents or people in general. And let's face it, as a 56-year-old man, I often question today, do we need, another album cover with a horned demon or skulls or an upside down cross, that kind of thing? But I thought I'd share with you because it's kind of fun to talk about, and I'd love to see or read or hear in the comments below if you had this problem as well. And what were those that you were afraid mom and dad would go, oh man, what is going on with this? Why do you have this, right? That kind of thing. And so I'm actually ranking these from what I thought would be the least offensive to the most offensive. Again, afraid my mom and dad would get a hold of this and go, oh my God, what's going on with my son here, that kind of thing. So let's go ahead and get started. The first one is from the Rolling Stones, Goat's Head Soup. Let me also mention that some of these, it's not so much about what's on the cover, but what's on the inside. Hint, hint. This is one of those, although the album cover is a bit sketchy as well. Not for me, but I thought my parents would have a problem with it. And for some of these, I hid them for myself, and I'll explain what I mean by that. So, Goat's Head Soup. This is pretty creepy in and of itself. Not because Mick Jagger's wearing makeup, because of the death shroud over him. The color is a bit creepy, and he looks like the brunette version of Sabrina from Bewitched. Can't remember her name. Of course, was also played by Elizabeth Montgomery. But the inside, Baphomet's head here, right? The demonic character you see on Slayer and other things, right? So yeah, definitely hid this one from mom and dad. And of course, I'm talking about during the vinyl age when I'm a teenager or younger, that kind of thing. Next, not so much because this is terrifying or creepy or satanic, arguably blasphemous from a mom and dad point of view. You have angels taking a smoke break, right? So in that sense, they're committing some addiction or fulfilling that addiction, that craving, right? So not something an angelic being would be caught doing. And I never owned the Van Halen, because essentially that album cover is very much like this. We have on that cover, we have a cherub with a pack of smokes in one hand and lighting up in the other, right? But I did own this on vinyl, not the Van Halen, so definitely hid this one from mom and dad. But compared to the ones in front of us, this is mild in comparison. Now this next one, David Bowie, Diamond Dogs, because of his dog parts on the other side of the album, right? So had to hide that from mom and dad. The next one I don't have a copy of, but Ozzy's solo debut, Blizzard of Oz. Just the pose in which he's in, holding up the cross this way. I thought my mom would take issue with that, so I definitely hid that one from her as well. Next, definitely one that I had to hide from mom and dad. Exodus's Bonded by Blood. I have the CD, but it has the cover with just the logo. You have twins conjoined at birth. One of them is evil and one of them is good. So I was like, I just played safe. Hide. This one's not too bad, but you got pointed ears, devil ears, right? So I was like, hide that from mom and dad, just to be safe, as I said. Next is Metal Priestess from the Plasmatics, Wendy O. Williams, half naked with part of her chest area exposed, right? So there was a couple of those, but that was the only one I really had on vinyl. Everything else was a cassette tape that my friends would make for me, so that kind of thing. So definitely Metal Priestess. Next is a Rush album cover, simply because of the buttocks. Thought I'd hide that from mom and dad. When I would wear the t-shirt with the Starman logo, I would get, mom, dad, my second mom, which is essentially my growing up my best friend's mom, who was like a second mom to me. I remember her going, "What's with this shirt? Why do you have a naked man on your shirt?" So this I hid from mom once I heard that. Next is Going for the One by Yes. Same difference. Yes, for some reason, decides to steal by way of Hypnosis's album cover. I joke, of course, but it seems like Yes stole Rush's mascot, so to speak, the Starman, if you will. Butt crack theater all over again. So I definitely hid that one for mom and dad as well. Especially mom, I should note most of these. It was more mom that I was afraid of than dad. The next one I don't have a copy of, but this one was not because of the album cover, but because of what's inside of it. I'm talking about the Queen album Jazz. The poster inside had the naked woman bicycle race, so definitely had to hide that from mom and dad. Next is Danzig. You have the skull of Satan essentially on the album cover, so hid that one as well. And speaking of which, very similar, Sam Hain, November Coming Fire. I thought was more scary because you have the orange fires in the background, and you have 3 full skeletal figures with that big, gigantic pumpkin devil head thing going on. So definitely hid that one for mom, especially dad as well. Next one, kind of tame in comparison, but I was more afraid of this for some reason than the 2 that I just mentioned and everything that follows. For some reason, I'm not sure why, but I know I was adamant about hiding this one. And Emerson, Lake and Palmer. I had, and of course I'm talking about, I had all these on vinyl, as I said. So this opened up on vinyl to reveal a Geiger-esque version of his wife. And I thought that was creepy and mysterious as well. And of course, anytime there are skulls, and there's an x-ray right here, and then you have like nails going through the cheekbone, I guess. And so I just play it safe kind of thing. Next one's not so much because it's violent, but it hints at violence in the title, talking about kill 'em all. Yeah, you have blood there, and it does seem to promote violence, but I never thought that the image would be bad. It's just the message more so than the image. And if people said, well, this looks like a baby's head and it's doing the Rodin's the thinker thing, I think that's just, the imagination anyway. So I hate this one as well. The next one is Melissa from Merciful Fate. Again, Skull and Bones. This next one, probably just me over-interpreting the album cover, but I think it has a Freudian interpretation. Again, at the time when I have this as a teenager, I don't know what Freudian means. Of course, I would learn that in college. But just to play it safe, I saw the area in red. I would hide from mom and dad because it looks like something else beside a tongue. All right. Next one, mom would not let me buy this. We'd go in the record store. You can't have that. My friends would make me a cassette, tape for it. Talk about Speak of the Devil. At first, I wouldn't look at this album cover, but it didn't bother me after a while so much. Yeah, it's very creepy with the fangs and the jelly. I like the pun. I appreciate the pun here. Speak of the Devil. But anyway, couldn't have it, so I end up getting it later and in secret. Didn't tell mom and dad, because eventually I'm able to go take the bus after high school. After high school, the day was ending, and take the bus to the record store, Sound Warehouse, if you remember that place. Take the bus, about a 10-minute trip, and then 10 minutes back, go in the store, buy it. And I bought something else to kind of cover it. And so mom's like, what you got? I said, well, let me go unwrap it first. And I got caught with this one. So anyway, she's like, no, let me see. So I tried to hide it, I guess I should say, with this one. I did not successfully hide this one. I tried to hide it, but I'm still counting it, so I'm cheating a little bit. Next, Killers, Iron Maiden. Probably the most disturbing part is the axe with the blood on it, and the 2 hands trying to cling on for dear life. And of course, this is going to be disturbing as well to parents, right? Next is South of Heaven from Slayer, very Hieronymus Bosch looking. Next is Rain and Blood, also Hieronymus Bosch looking. So definitely hid those from mom and dad. This next one I think would have been, I won't want to say kick me out the house kind of thing, but growing up in a religious household, I think mom especially would have blew her top because of this. Okay, it's hard to see because it's just a CD, but what we have essentially is a demon or Satan himself. It's the Murray mascot from the Dio albums. I think it looks just like it if you look closely. I don't know if this is the same artist or not, but what's blasphemous about it from a parental point of view or religious point of view is this seems to echo a reverse or inverse crucifixion, a crucifixion in black, so to speak. Think of nativity in black, crucifixion in black of Satan being murdered by the mob. And it's also blasphemous because, like Jesus having his sweat removed from Veronica as he's stumbling with the cross, we have the blood image, like a blackened version of the Shroud of Turin kind of thing going on. So definitely hid that from mom and dad. Next is black metal from Venom. Again, you got the demonic goat's head on the cover. Next is Emperor's Return from Celtic Frost because of the demonic, the nude or half-naked demonic looking females on that cover. Next I have The Last in Line. Looks like Judgment Day, and a lot of people are going downstairs in fire and brimstone. Of course, mom would not approve. Again, dad either, but I think mom more so than dad. Of course, staying in the same vein, you now have Murray killing a priest, drowning him, so definitely blasphemous from a religious point of view. You could argue, unless Dio's trying to tell us that the priest is, bad. Who knows? But either way, not a good thing to have your parents see. Blue Oyster Cults, Fire of Unknown Origin. Didn't want mom and dad to think I'm a cultist. Let's face it, this made the news. I'm not sure if you know this, but there was this dumb blonde on the news. I can't remember her name. The local, it wasn't the local news, it was the world news, I believe. And she says, they're a cult and they worship blue oysters. People are stupid, right? So anyway, I hid this from mom and dad just to be careful. The next one, don't have a cover for it, but I had it on vinyl. Screaming and Bleeding from Angel Witch. You have this Medusa-like figure with fangs. I definitely had to hide that from mom. Had an alternate version also of it listed here. Not sure where to go. Had an alternate version of the original Angel Witch album on CD and had some partial nudity side view of a woman's breast. So definitely hid that one from mom and dad as well. Show No Mercy from Slayer is next. Got Baphomet on the cover, demon with horns, the goat figure, right? Definitely hide that from mom and dad. This next one especially, same band. Hell Awaits, not a good message or album title you want your mom and dad to see. And these demonic looking cow, goat, bull figures, right? Being cast, or the image of, being cast into hell is given there. So hid that from the folks as well. At War with Satan from Venom on the album title alone. Album cover, not so much. The next one, definitely album cover, Welcome to Hell, Venom. Again, you've got the pentagram with the goat's head in the middle. Very creepy to some degree, still to this day. Next, because I knew mom would not approve because it has a song I was not allowed to play in the house, and that is Don't Fear the Reaper. So Some Enchanted Evening. I did not have the album with the studio version, what has the guy doing the sleight of hand. The album cover the album title eludes me. The fourth studio album. I never had that on vinyl when I was a kid because I was afraid that mom would find it, because I knew she would, because the album cover is not offensive and she knew what was on that album. So again, not allowed to play Don't Fear the Reaper in the house, but I did somehow manage to get a copy of Some Enchanted Evening. And even this one album cover disturbed me. The album, the Grim Reaper figure on here was quite disturbing to me at a young age. Reminds me of the Creep Show mascot, also very creepy, very similar looking in detail. So I hid this one for myself in the sense that I took a grocery bag and made an album cover for that just said Blue Oyster Cult, Southern Chin, and then stuck that on the inside. So again, this is one that creeped me out myself. The next one is, no, other way around. Okay. The Scorpions add a dog to the album cover, but they're not fooling anyone. We know what this album cover is about, so definitely had to hide that one from mom and dad. Definitely a Freudian thing going on there. Next one also has buttocks. Love Hunter from Whitesnake. Hit that one as well. This next one, there was no way I was not gonna hide. Sorry for the double negative. Not gonna hide it from mom and dad. Anything to do with Satan, right? Or the devil. Had to hide those. Plus, Eddie even looks more creepier than the devil himself. So I think this is the most creepy version of Eddie on all of their album covers, if you ask me. But yeah, so. All right. This next one, I didn't like looking at this one, although I didn't hide it from myself. I'm talking about Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath. But what I did was, in my stacks in my closet, because that's where most of the ones with these questionable album covers that I knew would upset mom and dad, I would put in the closet behind a box. And when I want to listen to them, I would just take them out carefully, right? Make sure mom and dad's not in the hallway by my room, that sort of thing. But I would often put this up, you know, as you're thumbing through the albums, this would show first. So, yeah, I still today don't like this album cover. I know some people like the shirt. I don't. This is just, yeah, it's disturbing. It's unpleasant. No one wants to think of that, right? So anyway. The next one, I had both versions. I had the original, not the original. Well, let me show the original. We'll cover this part up. Is Love Drive from Scorpions, and the back is even worse because you can actually see more skin. At least on the front, the bubble gum's covering up most of it. But people have to realize that in Europe, or Europeans, they don't see the human body as shameful as Americans do. So I eventually get the one with the blue scorpion on the cover, much cooler looking than this, and gave this one to a friend. This next one, same band, and I don't have the album cover original, and I wouldn't show you because I think YouTube would not approve, but I'm talking about Virgin Killers. I had the original offensive cover with the prepubescent girl on the cover, very similar to, but worse than just as bad as the Blind Faith. A Blind Faith I never owned. With that offensive album cover, I have the CD in my bedroom, and it's got the band shot on the cover, thank goodness. So anyway, yeah, so definitely hit that one. The next one is the next one is one that I definitely knew would cheese off mom and dad. Don't have a cover. I wouldn't show it anyway because it's got full frontal nudity, well, partial frontal nudity, Death Penalty by Witchfinder General. The album cover suggests that these men had their way with this woman against her will, so definitely wouldn't show that. And I didn't keep this album along just on the fact that it's an okay album. I got it because my friend said you got to get it, so I believed him. I got it, and then I'm giving up it to his little brother not so long after that, and then I end up getting just to have it in case I decided I would maybe it would grow on me some more. As they took the album and recorded it for me on cassette, and so the rest is history. So Death Penalty from Witchfinder General. The next one is Merciful Fate. Don't break the oath. You have a demon or the devil himself coming out of the fire of hell and pointing at you. I just better be safe than sorry. I thought, since it's number 4 on my list, that shows you how high up I was scared that if mom and dad saw this, that they would freak out. The next one would definitely freak out mom and dad, and because it's very blasphemous, is To Megatherion by Celtic Frost. As a practicing Catholic, this disturbs me. I don't like it. I should probably just, show that instead. So anyway, it's ugly. It's just, Geiger is very disturbing. I like his alien stuff, but that, anyway, so the next one, yeah, I definitely had to hide this one from Mom and Dad. Born Again. Even Geezer Geezer's photo looks disturbing for some reason. He also looks like an animal from the Muppets at the same time for some reason. But anyway, yeah, Geezer looks like, I don't know. I like Geezer though, but at the time I thought Geezer looked evil in that photograph, so I was like, yeah. But this takes the cake as far as the album goes. So finally, I remember this like it was yesterday. It's the one that I was scared of the most, that my mom and dad would flip out. Plus, this is also one I hid from myself. I made a grocery bag into an album sleeve to put the album inside, and then I drew the name of the band and the album title in orange and yellow and red with flames. You'll see what I mean in a minute. I remember this like it was yesterday. As I said, I went after school, I got on the bus, rode to Sound Warehouse, had my allowance money, and I presented it to the clerk. And if looks could kill, this woman would have killed me because she must have thought I was evil because of the album cover. Yeah, I'm talking about Uriah Heep's Abominog. This also made its way into a movie where this young girl gets possessed by a demon or devil, and you can see this on the floor behind her in her record stack. I can't remember the name of the movie. But anyway, so this one is one that disturbed me as well. I could not look at that album cover for the longest time. Of course, I'm 13. It disturbed me. It would give me nightmares. So definitely had to hide that from Mom and Dad, and definitely hide that from myself. Thank you so much for watching. Please post in the comments album covers that scared you, and more importantly, that you were afraid that Mom and Dad would flip out over if they caught you with them. Thank you so much again for joining. Take care now. God bless.